I asked Ms. Phillips if we could go in the house. I wanted to remove her from the scene. It appeared she was starting to become hysterical.
Did she tell you anything about what was going on?
She said that they had an argument earlier in the night, approximately 11 p.m. She said she left the residence. She said she returned home at approximately 2 a.m.
What information were you aware of prior to that?
That Mr. Phillips was deceased, and it appeared he was deceased in the driveway. And all of what Mrs. Phillips had told me, that was it. She did mention to me when she left, she believed the passenger door of the truck was open, and she told me, but I did not hit him or anything.
At that time, had anyone suggested to you that Mr. Phillips was hit?
No, sir.
All right, tipping the scales. Court is set to resume next hour in the hit-and-run homicide trial. You notice the clock is ticking on the screen there. That means the jury in Florida is back at it in the Take Care of Maya civil trial, so we'll watch that. But meanwhile, yes, court is set to resume soon in Wisconsin as well. The defendant there, Lori Ann Phillips, she's accused of leaving her husband, Mark, for dead in a snowbank after hitting him with her car back in 2019. Prosecutors say she killed him after the two had an argument and a night of drinking. The defense says she didn't know Mark was hurt when she took off that night after their fight. And when police arrived at the scene, dash cam video shows Phillips extremely emotional and upset.
So we had an argument last night. He was coming around the truck to come and get me. So I took off. His door was still wide open, but I didn't know that he was, like, I don't know what happened. I didn't know he was there. Oh my God.
Okay. Stay here. Stay with me. Okay. Okay. Are these your footprints here? Just yours?
I thought he was, I went to see.
Okay.
If he was, because I got up and I went to the bedroom and I went to see where he was. And so I went to see if his car's gone.
Okay. Okay, his car's normally in the garage?
I don't know. I always take the truck, but my car is in the garage. But when he wasn't in the bedroom. Oh my God. Oh my God, oh my God, oh my God. I don't even know what I'm going to do.
Why don't you go with 135? So you guys just got married, you said?
Yes.
Okay, when was that?
December 29th.
Okay. Okay, how long have you two been together?
3 years.
Did you just moved in here then, or
no,
you've been living here for a while? Does he have any medical conditions?
He has diabetes. Oh my God, I'm so sorry.
Okay. It's Lori's at LOR. Okay.
My God, I came home last night and I never even saw him.
Was her reaction genuine? Is she putting on a show here? It's a tough one. Let's bring back Joe Tamburino. He can tell. He can look right at somebody and know what they're thinking. I don't know. She seems kind of genuine to me. It's hard to tell. This one's a tough one. What are your thoughts?
It is a tough one, I agree, and she does seem genuine. What's tough about it, and what's also strange about it, is the whole issue of domestic abuse surrounding this. I mean, what's interesting in this case is that the prosecution has raised domestic abuse, which, you know, you would think would help the defendant because she was the victim of this. But I think the prosecution is trying to use it as the way to show that she had motive to do something terrible to her husband. But I think what this is going to come down to is the following. She would have to testify in this case. There's just no doubt about it. She's saying that there's some type of accident or mistake. There was alcohol involved. She didn't realize that she hit him, perhaps. So she's going to have to testify. And the issue of domestic abuse will be front and center.
Yeah, she'll be able to tell her version of the domestic abuse allegations. Let's listen to her 911 call, see if we pick up anything there.
What's going on? My husband is out of the kidney. He's frozen. Oh my God. He's frozen? I don't know. He's not moving. Oh my God. Is he going to throw me? Is he breathing? No, I don't think so. Are you you lay by him now? Yes. Lay him flat on his back on the ground. Oh, I can't touch him. I can't touch him. Why can't you touch him? I need you to roll him flat on his back. Pull him flat on his back. Don't hang up the phone. Ma'am, listen to me. Listen to me. Lay him flat on his back. We're going to try to help him, okay? Ma'am, I'm sure he's been here for a long time. There's still all over him.
Oh, he's frozen. And yeah, I don't know. I agree with you that she's got to tell her version of this story. So let's say at the end of the day that they get in a fight, which she says, they're drunk, she says. She has to convince the jury, right, that she just didn't know she hit him. That's it. She could tell everything else is right there.
That's right. And the other thing is, and I'm not, I don't know what the prosecutor's going to do in this case, but, in Wisconsin, as in most states, if you're under the influence of alcohol or drugs and you injure someone with a motor vehicle, that's a separate crime. So, I mean, if she does use the defense of, I was drunk and we had a fight because he abused me, so I left the house, I had no idea that I hit him. Okay, on the one hand, she could be trying to exonerate herself, but on the other, she could be also convincing the jury that she committed a crime of negligent homicide by using alcohol in a motor vehicle.
Is the abuse allegations, if she gets up and tells a story that the jury believes that he had been abusive, physically abusive in the past, and her story is that he's coming after me, so I took off, that can go either way. And you sort of alluded to it earlier, that if she is abused and drunk and they're arguing and then he's there, you could see that she took him out, right? That would make sense. More so that if the abuse wasn't there. So does the abuse necessarily work in her favor?
Well, I think it's definitely going to cut both ways. I think the prosecution is going to use it as motive, but the defense is going to use it for two things. One is that he was an abusive man. But the second thing is that he would abuse her and pursue her, because part of the abuse that night allegedly happened in the driveway. He was choking her against the vehicle. He was pushing her head into the seat. Now, what does that tell you? That tells you that he pursued his victim. And what does that tell you? Well, when she was trying to get away and drive out of the driveway, if this guy's pursuing her, he put himself in harm's way, and that's how she hit him. So yes, it cuts both ways, but I still think the defense will have a greater argument.
And if you want to even go to jury nullification, the old Dixie Chicks Earl's Gotta Die song, where it's all right, this guy's a bad dude and he's dead. You could kind of feel maybe some empathy for the defendant.
You could, absolutely. And this is how important it's going to be when she testifies. And she really might as well testify, because we already have so much of her statements. We have her 911. We have her body cam video. Now, a lot of people would say, well, that's enough. She's already got her story partially out there with those recordings. Why would she testify? Well, I still think you have to, because you're going to have to go through that domestic abuse. You're going to have to talk about what was your state of mind when you were trying to leave the residence because of this abusive man.
Yeah, that's a good point. Again, they're getting ready to reconvene there up in the great state of Wisconsin, and we will be watching that trial live here.